Morphin Time. Hello and welcome to a podcast about something where each week we dive deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I'm your host and White Ranger, Calvin. Joining me from Angel Grove, Pink Ranger, your co-host, Nick Richardson.
Oh, you bitch.
Dude, which one do you want to be? Silver? Black?
I gotta say, It's Morphin Time was very good. That was pretty spot on.
I've been watching a lot of Power Rangers.
Dude, me fucking too.
I really feel like I've got the Tommy Oliver voice down.
I feel like I got all the, their kias and stuff like that. What Ranger do I want to be?
Oh yeah, you gotta pick.
I'll come back to you. Well, Green Ranger, bitch.
Green Ranger. All right. Also Tommy, or like the Adam Green Ranger?
I'm going Adam Green Ranger.
All right, I like that. That's a good pick. But Zeo, not Turbo, right?
Yes. He looks like a hippie in Turbo.
Turbo's the worst. We'll talk about that though. We are gonna go all the way as far as we can go into Power Rangers and hopefully come up with some more. Right now we're doing an overview of everything. We're going to go through every single team. We're going to go through the history of the show. We're going to go through some of our favorite stuff. This will probably be two parts. Part one today, part two tomorrow. So most of you will probably see both of them at the same time when you pick this up. We just want to break it up to make it a little easier to consume. But they're going to drop back to back. So you don't have to worry about waiting too long for some part two action.
It'll be done.
In part one, we're going to go through team by team, talk about who the Rangers are, who the villains are, what their Zords and weapons were like, and kind of what the theme of that series was. And then that will break after part one, and part two we'll come back and talk about some of our favorite things about Power Rangers. And what I'm hoping through this exercise is we find some more specific Ranger discussions to have in the future.
Oh,
right?
Dude, I'm sure
this is very broad, and we're covering a lot of things, and we can't get to all our thoughts. But like a Tommy Oliver episode would be a good one because he's been so many different Rangers, and he's been such a big part of everything. Or let's just do a Yellow Ranger study, you know?
Well, yeah.
Or
Yellow
like
Ranger,
one series.
Guess,
let's go really deep into one series, you know? Yeah, probably not Yellow. Yellow's always the worst.
Yeah, I'm super game for that.
So hopefully through this, or like we can do a villain character study, something like that. You know?
Oh hell yeah.
But we'll figure that out as we go. We'll come back to Power Rangers because I think we both love Power Rangers, and going through this exercise of watching a lot of these series and rewatching a lot of things, I've kind of regained a love for it and like want to explore them more. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I found myself looking at some action figures online today because
I have a lot of action figures.
I have too many action figures. I'm thinning my herd out. And I do not need to add more, but watching all the Power Rangers is just like, damn, I remember having that and that and that and that.
That was exactly my thing of like, I had this toy, I need to get it again. So I have all I posted pictures of the head flipping ones, my old ones, which I still have, which I gifted to my daughters and my nephew, and the new ones that are in a case that are not faded from 25 years of use. I posted that on Twitter last week, and then I think in my Power Rangers collection, the White Ranger, Tommy Oliver White Ranger, is the most represented.
I mean, he was kind of our age group's like love child. We fucking love the White Ranger. That was my first Halloween costume, which I may post a picture of.
I had a White Ranger Halloween costume as well. I don't know if I have a picture of it.
Oh, dude, I got one of me doing the like, yeah type shit. Yeah. It's awesome.
Just great. So let's start with a little bit of a history on the show, kind of how and why this show was created, because to me, this is a really cool concept, and I can't believe it works as well as it does. Like, a lot of people say, well, it's cheesy, and you can see where the cracks are, but honestly, it fits better than, like, if you're watching it and you're trying to follow it, it fits better than a lot of things could. Like, I've seen some really bad kids movies, and this does a better job of pulling off what it tries to than a lot of kids movies.
Well, I mean, fuck, if it's not going to be around for however long, 27 years now or whatever.
27 years, yeah.
Yeah, my entire fucking life, if it wasn't
exactly.
At least somewhat decent. And I mean, it's kind of waned in popularity a bit, but it's definitely a really neat idea, especially here in America, or how
the toys are still. I was surprised. I went to Target today to pick up some other things, and I always go through the toy section, look for things for my kids or for myself to add to my collection. The Beast Morphers, which is the latest series, their toys are pretty front and center in Target still.
No shit.
And they're coming out with the Lightning Collection, which are like basically they're $20 figures. It's kind of to
Yeah, I've
rival
seen
Marvel
those. I've seen
Legends.
those.
And they're going back through some Legendary Rangers and making good toys for those, good action figures for those. I don't think the only one I want of those is the Gold Zeo Ranger because I like my head flipping ones better for the older ones. But I need a Gold Zeo Ranger, and that's what I'm waiting for them to release.
Boom. I'm super game for those, dude. I saw the, I don't want to mention his name because I'm going to talk a shitload about him later, but I've seen him out and about, and I want to get him so bad.
All right, so it started out, there's a Japanese series called Super Sentai, and a million different versions of Super Sentai in the same way there's a million different versions of Power Rangers. That Power Rangers was adapted from. But instead of just saying, like, hey, there's a cool show, let's do our own thing, the American version, they decided that they were going to use footage from the Japanese series, which saves them a ton of money and shooting time to produce episodes. And so, and you can kind of see it basically anytime early on the Rangers are morphed, and definitely anytime monsters and Zords are on screen, those are scenes that are directly come from Japan. Like I said, as an adult, you can see those pretty easily when it's happening, but as a kid, I had no idea this was even going on. I learned about this probably like 4 years ago, that this was like a thing that happened, that they actually used the footage.
I learned that the other day. I thought that was amazing that they.
Yeah.
That sounds like such a pain in the ass. You know what I mean?
Well,
Just
so yeah,
chopping
we'll talk
way.
about that in a minute. Like, but they do it pretty seamlessly.
Like
you can see it as an adult, and you're looking for it. You can see it, but as a kid, you have no idea, and like it's just amazing that they're able to do it. Also, any footage of Rita in season 1 was also ported directly over and dubbed. And you can really see that with Rita Repulsa in season 1 because her words never match her lips.
No, and her shrill ass voice. Ugh.
Yeah. But then after season 1, they created Lord Zed, and they had actual Ranger uniforms for the actors to wear for like putty fights and command center scenes. So after season 1, anytime that they're in uniform, like sometimes they're in uniform and it's the actual actors or stuntmen, and other times it's Japanese footage, like just depending on what they're doing and who they're around. But you can kind of tell by the sets behind them too if it's Japan or America / New Zealand.
Yeah, I also learned that you can tell if like the Yellow Ranger is not wearing a skirt or something.
Yeah,
usually...
the Yellow Ranger most of the time in the Japanese series is not a female, and in the American series usually is.
Yeah, I'd say like 85% of the time.
Yeah,
I thought
there's
that was
like
kind of funny.
4 male Yellow Rangers.
I think there's more than that.
We'll see. We're gonna go through each team and find out. We'll try and keep it count. So yeah, it's just crazy how well they make it work. Like, it's not perfect. You can obviously see it, and it's one thing to pull the wool over kids' eyes. Kids by nature are fairly dumb and oblivious to things like that. But even watching as an adult, like, it's not as bad as you think something like that could go. The actors are bad as far as actors go for the most part, but they kind of do a great job at this. Like, this is what they were made for. Jason David Frank was made to be a Power Ranger for his entire life.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, if looks can tell, it's roaring at him at the end of his life. I mean, but I mean, it's Power Rangers, man. It's like it's built like a. Old. Yeah, dude, I saw him at Comic-Con and he looked haggard as fuck.
I just watched a crossover from one of the more recent seasons, like right before we started recording, and he's in it, and like, first of all, he's really short. You can't really tell that in like the first 5 seasons, because I think everybody else around him is kind of the same height, but they like have him pulling up in this big Jeep at one point, and like he's getting out, and he seriously looks like a 12-year-old getting out of a Jeep. But yeah, it's hit him hard, and you can tell with a lot of these Rangers actually that were in this last crossover I watched, like, age hits them fast when their series is over.
Oh, I'm sure, because I bet they get a bunch of money, syndication, I mean, merchandise, stuff like that.
Bunch of money, syndication. They probably have a super workout regimen while they're Rangers, and then probably let that go a little bit once they're not, especially if they're not getting more acting jobs.
Yeah, no shit.
Because that's what a lot of them look like, is they ballooned up a little bit, and they look kind of like their knees don't have it in them anymore.
Then, they drink 1 too many energy drinks and 1 too many beers.
Yeah. So another difficult thing about this is like 60% of their dialogue is voiceover and just random karate sounds. Um, but their friendships in the real world of the show are believable enough, especially in the early seasons. Like those original 6, like you could really tell that those guys were friends. And like when Aisha and Rocky and Adam and those guys came on too, like you could tell like the teenage friendships kind of made sense there. And they're all great at martial arts and gymnastics, kind of the stuff that's required for the show. And like I think about it, like they couldn't just find actors; they had to make sure they found actors that could pull off the martial arts and acrobatics that are needed. And to me, I would rather see worse actors doing more believable action sequences than better actors with terrible physical skills where the camera's constantly cutting around them and stuntmen are, subbing in whatever constantly. I'd rather see Fast and the Furious or like Mission Impossible where the actors aren't quite as good but the action sequences are good than something where you've got like Tom Hanks in an action movie and he just can't do it. Or
Well,
like
I
The
mean,
Equalizer 2 is a good example where Denzel's in there and he just can't do the action anymore.
yeah. I mean, you make a good point. It's I'd rather just have it. It's more fun that way, I guess, is kind of how I look at it. Because when you're cutting all around, you can't keep track of shit. So they had to find people that were relatively decent at karate and gymnastics, like you said. And I got to admit, I like their chemistry amongst
Mm-hmm.
each other. They all seem like relatively the same age, and they all kind of look like
Except David Yost.
yeah, but they all kind of look like the old people in high school, like the
Yeah.
seniors that just look like they're 20.
Well, they were supposed. I think when they started, they were supposed to be freshmen because I want to say at the end of Zio they're graduating, or maybe the beginning of Turbo, like they're graduating high school.
yeah, by then they look aged the
Yeah.
fuck out. Nope.
Well, and I mentioned David Yost and like shouts to David Yost because he apparently got bullied the hell out of him. Like apparently the other characters or actors all bullied the hell out of him during the original run. That's Billy the Blue Ranger. Um, yeah, that
Yeah, poor
that
guy.
had to be rough for him. But I mean, they left it all off screen apparently because he fit right in during episodes.
I mean, he's getting that check. He's like, oh, I'll take
Yeah.
this as long as possible.
But for me, and this is something you hinted at, the coolest thing about learning about this process is realizing how hard it is for them to build the believable stories around these like random Japanese footage. And I went back, I want to say this was last year sometime, and I watched a few episodes of Super Sentai. You can like buy them on Amazon, and they have English subtitles at the bottom because it's all in Japanese. And I just wanted to see like what they brought over and what was new. And honestly, it's a completely different show. Everything that
Yeah.
Power Rangers does is a new mythology just using that footage. So they had to create new backstories, mythology for the Rangers, mythology for Rita and her goons, all the monsters, pretty much everything they built from scratch based on what they
Same
brought
footage.
over from this show. Yeah. And they kept doing that for almost 30 years now, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's bananas.
And like I get that and you're in on this. People build worlds out of nothing all of the time, right?
Pretty
You're All
much.
Alone is a world you built out of nothing. But and I'm not trying to diminish that in any way. That almost seems easier to create your own thing than taking something that exists and building a new, different, and compelling narrative around it. Does
Oh,
that make
definitely,
sense?
dude. Especially if it's something created by someone else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Because for me, it's just simple as, oh, I
I
make the
thought of
rules,
this.
son.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought of
exactly.
this. I make the rules, and if I stay within certain parameters, then it works out. Whereas they have very very tight parameters they have to fit and appeal to kids at the same time, which is
Right.
hard as fuck.
And the thing that they're building off of is mostly karate moves and giant goofy monsters.
Right?
So they have to build a backstory for all of these goofy ass monsters. And I'm sure the continuity through, any of the seasons is not perfect. Most 90 shows it's not. But for
Zero 90 shows.
yeah, for every episode they had to come up with a personal problem for one or more ranger in the real world that's somehow related to one of the random ass monsters from Super Sentai because they didn't like go in order or anything. They just grabbed a monster and said, "Well, this one's got a lot of eyeballs, so we'll have Trini need to go to the eye doctor or some shit like that, right? Then they had to give Rita a reason to create that monster with a connection to that ranger. Then they had to make up a backstory for the monster that only Zordon knows about and knows how to defeat. Then they had to find a way for the rangers to encounter the monster. Then they had to defeat the monster and resolve the personal problem. And like all that into like 8 minutes of karate moves and a weird looking monster. And, you know, I keep referring to Rita and Zordon because they're the OGs, but it goes for most of the seasons. You know, even when the master villain was an American creation, they still had to go through all these steps. And like, that's just crazy to me.
Definitely, dude. Well, I mean, either there's two options. Either they spent the time and really thought through this, or it's just giant manatees in a big tank putting balls in certain corners. You know what I mean? South Park style. And it could go either way. But sometimes it gets pretty zany, man. It really does. But it's still.
They definitely have fun with it.
It's coherent within the realm of Power Rangers, so you know, I'll take it.
When they bought the footage, but they didn't buy the stories from Super Sentai. So that's why they have to create all their new stuff. And they have to create and dub dialogue for all the monsters, create and dub dialogue for Rita and her like 15 henchmen she has, the Rangers in uniform that, you know, they've got to create and dub dialogue that matches not only what's going on in the story, but also kind of passingly matches what we're seeing, because at least they're wearing helmets, so you don't have to worry about their mouths moving and things like that. And it's like literally 8 minutes of footage from a Japanese show.
Yeah, building on that's got to be insanely hard. I mean, you know, the sound guy is just like, thank God, anytime he comes upon a kia or a woo made from the little putty dudes.
Well, I wonder how often that, like, let's take Jason David Frank for a minute, Tommy Oliver. How many times did he have to re-record his Hia! Or did they just fucking use the same one over and over again? It just blows my mind that they've been able to do this for more than 900 episodes over 28 years.
For real, but kids are dumb.
Well, kids are definitely dumb. I mean,
and they're all about karate and bright colors and ninjas and shit, which is most of the time what Power Rangers are. Like, I always consider them
they recycle stories all the time and, you know, all kinds of stuff. But
throw super before or behind the same thing and you know, call it a new series.
Well, and then they give so they have to start with, okay, here's a monster made out of flowers. Okay, and here's the Rangers fighting that monster. All right, let's come up with a story. Zach is trying to give his girlfriend a flower, but she's not giving him the time of day, so he's just got this flower. So Rita's going to create a monster out of that flower, and then they're going to beat that monster, and then Zach's finally going to give the flower to his girlfriend at the end of the show. Like, that's fucking crazy that they can do that 900 times.
No shit. Yeah. I'm more and more convinced as I've done the research that it's just manatees in a big tank, man. They're riding. I
don't get that. You got to explain that reference. I'm not a South Park watcher.
Okay, it's a South Park episode. They're talking about Family Guy, and basically they're like, Family Guy is a dumbass show. It falls in such, you know, a little triangle basically, and they go to the studio, and it's a giant tank full of manatees with, you know, balls that have words written on them like verbs and stuff, right. And they basically push a ball into a certain hole, and it's, you know, after 3 or 4 balls or something like that, it's random words that they build a show around.
Gotcha.
So it's like kite.
It could be that too.
Yeah, kite, water, basketball, Toronto, and then, you know, you build.
So Peter, you know, flies on a kite to Toronto and runs into Kawhi Leonard and has a basketball match against him. I get it.
In the water.
Yeah.
In the water. Yeah. So exactly. So I mean, I could see that being an option. Yeah. quite frankly.
But it's crazy that they can do it still. Like that, the process that goes into it is amazing. And like, I have to commend, even though like you can definitely see where it happens, but like I've got to commend them on being able to pull it off and for it to be successful for 28 years.
It's a talent. It's surely a talent.
So before we go into the seasons, regardless of what season and what team of Rangers or what Zords are using, every episode basically has the same composition. So I just want to run that through real quick. So we start with one or more Ranger has a personal issue in the real world. The main villain keys on this issue and sends some goons to fight at least that Ranger, but most of the time a couple more of them are there with them too. While the Rangers are distracted, the villain creates a monster that's connected to the Ranger's issue in some way. The Rangers defeat the monster, but the main villain makes the monster grow to a giant size. The Rangers always seem surprised that this happens, and they don't know how they'll defeat it now that he's big. Even though this has happened like 40 times before, they're still like, what the fuck?
So does this happen daily?
It's got to be at least weekly, right?
Something like that, man.
So
Maybe that's why they age so much.
The first series, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, had like 45 to 50 episodes. So yeah, that's at least one monster a week. You take a couple weeks off for Christmas and New Year's and shit like that. But I mean, you can't be surprised when it grows every time. Jesus. Eventually they figure it out and they're like, oh shit, hey, we've got Zords. Let's call those in. Call in the Zords. Sometimes, rarely, they fight with the individual Zords. But usually they go straight to the Megazord, which, like, why do they need individual ones? Just have a fucking Megazord. Don't get it.
It's not nearly that as cool. I mean,
I guess you gotta have the Voltron combining scene. I get it.
You
sell more toys that way.
Hell yeah.
The Megazord defeats the giant monster. Sometimes the monster would win, like if it's a multi-part episode, or like when we need to bring in new Zords and costumes or a new theme. Then the monster wins for one episode, but usually not. Ranger solves their personal issues based on what they experienced fighting the monster, and then somewhere in there, Bulk and Skull make a mess of things.
And Alpha says, aye.
Yep, Alpha says, aye. I love Bulk and Skull.
They're
the biggest doofuses in the world.
They're super odd.
I don't
hate them, thank God.
Yeah, even when Bulk and Skull weren't there anymore, they still kept, like, we gotta have some doofuses in every series.
It's good lightheartedness. They're like dumb foils for the Rangers in their personal lives, so there's always some kind of
They started out as like bullies, but then they just became these dumb guys who are just fucking shit up.
Yeah, fucking with the Rangers.
Yeah. So in seasons 1 through 6, Mighty Morphin through Power Rangers in Space, that whole season 1 through 6 had a single overarching plot, give or take. After Power Rangers in Space, each season became self-contained, and all of the Rangers were changed between season with little to no relation to the previous Rangers. So 1 through 6, at least one Ranger moved between teams, right?
Yeah, there's some kind of thread between them.
And then since 2011, they've started doing 2 season arcs instead of single season arcs. So there was an 11-12, 13-14, 15-16, 17-18, and then right now we're in the 1920, the Beast Morphers series.
That's where the Super and the Mega come in.
Yes. But we'll get to that. Are we ready to go through team by team, 1993 through 2019?
Yes. Let's do it, bro. Let's fucking do it.
We're going to go through the team. We'll give a brief synopsis. If we have memories of the team, because I watched in my original watch, I watched through Power Rangers in Space, maybe some Lost Galaxy, but I pretty much stopped at Power Rangers in Space. And then I did a rewatch recently where I didn't watch the full seasons because, again, there's like 45 episodes a season in the early years. So I rewatched 1 through 6. I watched just like the multi-part episodes because that's where things kind of start to happen. Like,
definitely.
In between the multi-part episodes, it's just monster comes, they fight the monster, they defeat the monster, we go on to the next week, there's another monster. But then like the multi-part, they tell like a real arc, or Tommy comes in, or they bring in Aisha, Rocky, and Adam. Those kind of things happen over the multi-part series. So I would just key on those. And then I realized there was no way to watch all of them.
Nope. Yeah, I definitely watched further than that. I mean, I'm a couple years younger, and I think that had everything to do with it. But
right, yeah.
I definitely stuck around a little further than that. I can't say exactly.
11, I think, when Space came out, so that was my last one.
I think Ninja Storm was my last one. But anyway, let's go.
I think Ninja Storm was like 03, so that would be right around the same time.
Yeah,
11 years old, that's when he stopped watching Power Rangers, apparently.
Fucking apparently.
But if I've got to give advice to anyone who wants to try and rewatch Power Rangers, don't try and watch every single episode, or if you do, make sure it's like way in the background. But do it the way I did it. Just watch like the multi-part episodes, because that's where the big swings happen. Zord changes, villain changes, mythology progression. Sometimes you miss out on something, but you usually pick up pretty easily from context of what's going on.
Right.
So, season Series 1, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, 1993 to 1995. They had 3 seasons where they were technically Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. In the first season, the evil witch Rita Repulsa and her minions Goldar, Squat, Babu, and Finster are freed from their imprisonment on the moon. The wizard Zordon, try not to laugh at all these names, with the help of assistant Alpha 5, enlists 5 teenagers to become the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to battle Rita's invasion of the Earth, using their power coins and dinosaurs to combat her monster. Rita soon creates her own evil Power Ranger by brainwashing a recent transfer student, but the Power Rangers are able to free him from her control, and he joins their side. So that's season 1. Season 2.
Don't forget, it's teenagers with attitude.
Teenagers with attitude, that's true.
We gotta state that, guys. They have fucking attitudes. It's serious.
So season 2, Rita's superior Lord Zed returns to Earth to take over for Rita's incompetence, imprisoning her once more. His new monsters prove too powerful for the Dinozords, leading Zordon to empower them into the Thunderzords. Like, just do that from the beginning, Zordon. Come on, my guy. Tommy
can't
eventually
handle it, homie.
I guess not. Tommy eventually loses the Green Ranger powers, but comes back as the new White Ranger and becomes the new leader of the team. Jason, Trini, and Zach leave to join the youth conference in Switzerland and are replaced by Rocky, Aisha, and Adam, respectively, and Rita returns and marries Lord Zed at the end of season 2.
Oh,
such a good love story in there.
I know, they're so cute.
Season 3, Rita's brother, Rito Revolto, comes to Earth and destroys the Power Rangers, Power Coins, and Thunderzords. Power Rangers seek out Ninjor, creator of the Power Coins for new Power Coins, giving them new ninja powers and the Ninja Zords, and later the Shogun Zords. Also, they fought against Ivan Ooze and went to some weird planet with some hot lady and got ninja powers too. I don't know.
Super hot lady.
Rita also enchants a new Australian exchange student, Kat Hillard, into slowly draining Kimberly of her Ranger powers until the spell is broken when Kimberly ultimately leaves to train for the Pan Am Games, which are basically the Olympics. She entrusts Kat to be her replacement amongst the Power Rangers.
That's such bullshit. You can just be like, hey, you're a Ranger now.
Yeah, wait till we get to fucking Turbo. They just picked 5 new people randomly and are like, here you go. But we're not there yet. So the theme of the first 3 seasons are dinosaurs and ninjas.
So good. Like, as a young kid, it was just like,
that's all you need as a 6-year-old, right?
Dinosaurs and ninjas. Especially because I was like either a Power Ranger or a ninja for the first 8 years of my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
So the team members and special guests consist of Jason Lee Scott, the Red Ranger. He wields the Power Sword. Zach Taylor, the Black Ranger, wields the Power Axe. Trini Kwan, the Yellow Ranger, Power Daggers. We're just going to go right past the racism of those last 2. We're just going to move past it, not going to talk
Super
about it.
Racist.
Kimberly Hart, the Pink Ranger, with her Power Bow, and Billy Cranston, the Blue Ranger, with his Power Lance. And then they are later joined by Tommy Oliver, who is the Green/White Ranger. He has Dragon Dagger, the Dragon Shield, which was also worn by Jason and Zach, respectively, at some points. He also has Saba, the White Tiger Sword, which is a badass weapon.
Fucking love it.
Do you like the Dragon Dagger or Saba better?
Saba.
Yeah.
He talks, man. He's dope.
I think so too. I have both in my house, so
I
think I like Saba better.
I used to have Saba like back in early 2000s. I think I got it.
I have one right now, so.
Yeah, eat that bitch.
So then Rocky DeSantos takes over for Jason as the Red Ranger. Adam Park takes over for Zach as the Black Ranger. Aisha Campbell takes over for Trini as the Yellow Ranger. And then later, Kat Hillard takes over for Kimberly as the Pink Ranger. And then they have a special friend, Ninjor, who, as we said, helps them discover the ninja powers in season 3. And Ninjor is a badass.
Dude. Yeah, he's my fucking guy. My
favorite. I had a Ninjor toy when I was a kid, and they're impossible to find right now.
eBay, my man. eBay.
I know you said that last time. I haven't looked yet.
Check it out, dude. I looked at a couple. I just couldn't pull the trigger because
they're like $30 for a $12 toy.
Yeah, exactly. And they're all beat to shit. But I remember my Ninjor toy. I remember that. It was awesome. I loved
because he had the head flip in action too, except like both heads looked pretty much the same. One had like a bandana, I think.
Yep. One had a bandana and he had the cool sword.
Yep. Did have a cool sword. I had a Red Dragon Thunderzord too. I didn't have any of the other Thunderzords, but I had the Red Dragon Thunderzord.
Dude, nice.
So let's talk about Zords. They started out in season 1 with the Dino Zords. Red Tyrannosaurus, Black Mastodon, Yellow Saber-Tooth Tiger, pink pterodactyl, blue triceratops, and the green dragon,
So
called by the dragon dagger.
were you actually playing it?
No, that was me with my mouth.
Oh, okay.
I have it. It's
thought
too high. I would grab it, but I can't.
I thought I
when
heard
I do
some
the promo video
reverberation
for
there.
it, I will have the dragon dagger in hand.
Nice. Nice.
Then we move on to the Thunder Zords. I think I had. I don't know if I had an original. No, I didn't have an original Megazord.
I definitely had an
I do
original
now.
Megazord.
I have an original Megazord and a Dragon Zord. No Thunder Zords, but the Thunder Zords were the Red Dragon, Black Lion, Pink Firebird, Blue Unicorn, Yellow Griffin, and the White Tiger, and also the White Turtle Carrier named Tor.
Yes, dude. I remember him.
Yep.
Gee. Love that dude.
And then finally we end with the Ninja Zords. I did have a Ninja Megazord. I remember that because I loved the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie.
Oh yeah, I loved the. I love that fucking movie. I wore that VHS out.
More on that in part 2. We'll come back to the movies.
Definitely.
So the Ninja Zords were the Red Ape, the Black Frog, I'm a frog, Blue Wolf, Yellow Bear, Pink Crane, White Falcon, and then they had Titanus, which was like a big Brachiozord as a carrier Zord.
Titanus. What a G.
And then they also had the Shogun Zords, which were just like robots, like robot warriors that were color-coded based on whoever they served. They had those during the Ninja series too.
Kind of looked like Ninjor. Kind of.
Yes, that's exactly what they were. They were like different colored Ninjors.
But
and then they had a couple crossovers early on. They had in season 2 the episode A Friend in Need, where they cross over with the Masked Rider / Kamen Rider, which is another Japanese show.
Yes, dude. Kamen Rider.
Kamen Rider? Yeah, whatever. I had an action figure of him too when I was a kid, but like the yellow one, not the green one.
The green one's dope. He's basically a bug guy, if you don't know who Kamen Rider is.
And this was the green one. So this the synopsis for this episode: Alpha 5 is moping around the command center. When Zordon asks him why, he answered that he is worried about his home planet, Edinoi, which has lost contact with other planets. Zordon tells him to continue monitoring the situation. When the Rangers, minus Kimberly, who is sick in bed, realize what is troubling Alpha, they volunteer to travel to Edinoi to help. Zordon tells them not to get involved, but only to scout. However, upon arrival, they have to face the Masked Rider, the hero of that planet, who mistakes them for spies as Count Dragon, the Masked Rider's sworn enemy, attacks the planet's surface. When Masked Rider realizes his mistake, he reveals his identity as Dex Stewart, the Prince of Edinoi. Together, Masked Rider and the Power Rangers fight off Count Dragon. Pretty easy.
That was definitely ripped from Japan. For sure.
Yeah. That I think the whole episode pretty much was, except the dialogue and like the 2 scenes of Kimberly in bed sick.
Probably.
Also, the command center is dope. I don't have anywhere that I talk about the command center, but like let's just focus on that. The command center with the tube of Zordon's head, like that's awesome.
It's so clean. Always, man. I love it.
They don't make a good like toy model of it, but I want one if they ever do.
Build a diorama. That'd be super cool.
That.
Yeah, right, dude. I could totally see you doing that.
I'm not like a I can do Lego, but I'm not like a building models guy. Like I can't do like the little metal model. Like I can't do it. My fingers aren't nimble enough.
Fair enough.
I would rather just buy something that's already complete.
True that.
They also
Doesn't take me
had
7 hours.
They also had a semi crossover of the Wild West Ranger, where Kimberly travels back in time and gives power coins to the ancestors of all the other Rangers who are also cowboys at this time. That's pretty much it.
Yup. It's when cowboys and Indians was still cool.
Yeah. I don't know if cool's the right word, but acceptable, I guess.
I played a lot of cowboys and Indians as a kid. As a kid, I mean, I didn't get it.
Right, exactly. You didn't realize you were murdering thousands of people and taking their land for them?
I was the Indians.
Oh, okay.
Bitch.
You're getting murdered then. Good job.
Yeah. No, I did the murdering.
Loser.
With
All right, so let's just real quick go down the villains and the henchmen of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers era. We start out with Rita Repulsa, and then Lord Zed comes in. Goldar is like the main henchman, which, shout out to Goldar, big flying gold monkey.
Fuck Goldar, dude. He's a bitch.
I feel like Goldar should have come back more in later seasons. Like, he should just always be coming back to be like, hey, who's fighting the Rangers now? Let me at him.
Yeah, but I'll never really do much.
Yeah. And then we got Rito Revolto, who's Rita's brother. Scorpina was like another kind of Goldar type person. Master Vile comes in season 3. He's Rita's father. The Putty Patrollers are the goons basically of season 1 and 2, that the cannon fodder. They just go out there and get killed and distract the Rangers for a little bit. And then the Tenga Warriors are like the Raven-like goons from the Ninja seasons. That same thing. They just come in and get killed. They were brought as a wedding gift by Rito to Rita and Zed.
I thought those were super cool.
I like the
nightmares
Tengas
about
better
those
than
are cool.
Putty Patrollers, definitely.
Yeah, because they could fly at least. That's another little.
Well, so I read the Putties like they were they'd be destroyed if you beat them. They were destroyed, but the Tengas, they weren't replaceable. Like they literally died if you killed them. So they would always fly back when they'd get too scared of the Rangers.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So at the end of season 3, Rita or Master Vile, it might have been Master Vile, turns all the Rangers into children. And they need to be saved by the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers.
Oh my god.
And this is not a full series. This was 10 episodes. They call it season 3.5. I really liked the Alien Rangers when I was a kid. And let me just say, I was fucking wrong.
So here's
awful.
Here's what's weird is I did not remember them at all. When I read Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers, I was just like, okay, someone made a fucking parody of this shit, and then it turned out to be a real thing, and I have no idea how I just tuned that. It must have been that bad that I just turned.
It's very bad. Yeah, you must have realized it better than I did, because I was just for anything that was Power Rangers. So when Rita's father, Master Vile, comes to Earth, he turns back time, turning the Power Rangers and many other friends into children. Zordon calls upon his proteges, the Alien Rangers of Aquitar, to protect the Earth from Master Vile's monsters and to help work on a machine that would return the Rangers to their proper ages. Unfortunately, only Billy returns to normal, as the machine, which required the power coins as a power source, is stolen by Rito and Goldar, allowing Rita and Zed to destroy the coin. The Ranger kids then travel throughout time to gather the fragments of the Zeo Crystal to bring time back to normal. During her journey to Africa, Aisha meets Tanya Sloan and realizes that she can do more help to stop the sickness plaguing the wildlife in Africa, and sends Tanya back with her Zeo Crystal. So she's just like, fuck it, I'm done being a ranger. You go do that.
Yeah, peace. I'm gonna give up this.
Kids in Africa, even though I'm not a fucking doctor of any sort.
Yeah, no shit. I'm just gonna.
Oh, that's right. She was training to be a vet. She worked at like a vet clinic or whatever, and that's how they found Kat originally. That turns into be the Pink Ranger. So this is gonna go real off the rails for a second here, but Rita enchanted Kat to be a cat, and then Aisha like picked her up and was like, this is my new pet, and took her home, and Kat like lived with Aisha and Kimberly for like a day and a half until they figured out what was going on and disenchanted her. Fucking weird, man.
That sounds weird as fuck.
Yeah. And I thought when I first watched it, because like I'm not watching too intently, I thought like Rita just made this person out of thin air and made this cat out of thin air, but apparently she enchanted an existing person. So it's a little better, I guess.
That's bogus. It's so bogus.
So the theme of this is aliens from a water planet that all have similar powers to the Rangers. Also, each Ranger has like a shape associated with them, and shapes is probably the worst theme for the Rangers. It might come up a couple more times, though.
Shapes.
They also had like this weird accent, which was a bubble accent is the best way I can say it, where everything they said sounded like it came through like you're talking underwater, and it's goofy and stupid.
And they have fucking dumb heads and faces.
Yes, they have like brains on their heads with like a weird crown.
Like a mask thing.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
So the team members included Oriko, the Red Circle Ranger. He could vanish and reappear in another place. Sestro, the Blue Square Ranger. They had the power of the Aquitar Waterfall. Titius, the Yellow Triangle Ranger, could shoot energy beams. Corcus, the Black Pentagon. No special powers noted for Corcus. Sorry, Corcus. And Delphine, the White Arrow Ranger, had extreme endurance and could survive longer periods of time outside of the water.
Okay, I remember their Megazord.
Yes, they had their Zords were the Battleborgs. which were kind of not the Beetleborgs, the Battleborgs. They were kind of like the Shogun Zords. They just were like humanoid robots that matched the Rangers' color.
They were triangles.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I remember the triangle and square
Well,
star.
yeah,
type
each
shit.
one was had a different shape on them.
Dumb. Yeah, I remember that. That was dumb. It was a big
the
box.
The whole arc of this is a crossover, basically the villains, Master Vile, Rita, Lord Zed, Rito. So that's pretty easy. Let's move on to Zeo.
Yes. Zeo.
Power Ranger Zeo, go. So with the Zeo crystal restored and time brought back to normal, the Rangers are caught off guard when Goldar and Rito steal the crystal and destroy the command center. Although Zordon and Alpha are fine, and the headquarters rebuilds itself into the power chamber, which the power chamber's dope too, because it's got like all the old uniforms surrounding it. They warn the Rangers that the Machine Empire is planning on conquering the Earth, and the Rangers must use the power of the Zeo crystal to become the Zeo Rangers to battle them. Billy decides to use his scientific prowess to work on the Zeo Zords and other machinery, and his presence in the destruction of the command center leaves him unable to receive the powers of the Gold Ranger. But Jason later returns to become the Gold Ranger instead.
Hell yeah.
Then Billy has an arc where he begins to age rapidly, a side effect from the regenerator he used to return to his normal age, and he leaves Earth to go to Aquitar to be healed, and just never comes back.
They're like peace. It's like Avatar, but Power Ranger style.
Yeah, they're not going there for the unobtainium. So in this series, Bulk and Skull recruit, so Rito and Goldar lose their memories and have no idea who they are, so Bulk and Skull recruit them to be their maids. And that's a thing that happens throughout the whole series.
Yes.
So the theme of these Rangers are the Zeo crystals, shapes and numbers. So really taking it back to kindergarten here. And the shapes are based on the number of the Ranger is based on the number of sides their respective Ranger shape has.
Yes.
Stay with me here.
I follow.
So the team members are Tommy Oliver, he's the Red Star and has the Zeo Power Sword. Also Zeo Ranger 5, because Star has 5 sides, or 5 points. Adam Park, he's a green rectangle with the Zeo Power Hatchets. Zeo Ranger 4. Rocky DeSantos, Zeo Ranger 3, is the blue triangle, and he has Zeo Power Axes, which, like, I'd be pissed if I was the guy with Power Hatchets staying next to the guy with Power Axes. Like, why do I have this tiny shit?
Can we trade one?
Yeah.
So we can both have, it'd be cool.
Tanya Sloan is the yellow oval Zeo Ranger 2, and she has the Zero Power Club, so they couldn't find anything with 2 sides, so they gave her just, like, 2 fucking lines. Good for her. Kat Hillard is the pink circle Zeo Ranger 1, and she has the Zeo Power Shield. And then we get Trey of Triforia, who's the Gold Ranger. The 6th Ranger comes in with his Golden Power Staff, and he has like just gold, like 6 lines. There's like 1 line in the middle and then 6 lines coming out of the side of it. So that's how he's the 6th Ranger.
Less creative.
Yeah, and then Jason Lee Scott comes back and takes over the power of the Gold Ranger later. But they do this whole thing where anytime, like, they don't know who the Gold Ranger is for a long time when it's Trey of Triforia, and they do this whole misdirection where they make the viewer think it's Billy, because anytime the Gold Ranger shows up, like, nobody can find Billy, and they just, like, walks in afterwards and like, hey guys, he saved your ass again, huh?
What happened? No way.
It's just some
he
alien
sounds sexy. Yeah, he sounds amazing. Love him.
So let's talk Zeo Zords. Zeo Zord 1. The pink one, it's based on the Moai. It's a powerful cannon and 5 missile launchers on each side, but it's just like kind of like a tower. Nothing really going on there. Zeo Zord 2 is based on the Dogu, and that's the yellow one. Has top-mounted blasters and a swiveling cannon. Same thing, just like 2 basically towers with cannons on them.
Boo-boo.
Zeo Zord 3, now we're getting somewhere, is the Blue Sphinx. Zeo Zord 4, Taurus the Bull, is green, and Zeo Zord 5 is the Red Phoenix. Tommy always gets the best swords.
He really fucking does, man. And the best colors, too.
Yeah. And then the Gold Ranger has Pyramidas, which is just a big fucking pyramid.
Yeah, I thought that was dumb.
Yeah, it was weird. Oh, but it gets weirder, because the Super Zeo Zords that they get later in the season, they're just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're just the shapes. You get a pink circle, you get the yellow ovals, blue triangle, green rectangle, red star. And then for the Gold Ranger, you get the Warrior Wheel.
Warrior Wheel. I don't remember that.
I didn't either. I had to click on it and look at it. It's just a wheel. Nothing too cool.
Dude, nice. Let me get the wheel.
So there's a crossover here called Rangers of Two Worlds, where the Alien Rangers come back. As King Mondo returns, he takes quick action against Earth and sends Cog Changer in revenge for the Zeo Rangers for destroying him. Lord Zed and Rita quickly join in on the fight and send down their own monster. Meanwhile, Billy has quickly aged, and the Rangers need to fix his problem before it gets worse. In the Power Rangers Zeo time of greatest need, the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers come to help on both fronts.
Fucking
Save Billy.
Yeah, gotta save Billy.
So the villains in this one are the Machine Empire. You got King Mondo, Queen Machina, Prince Sprocket, and the Cogs are the cannon fodder goons.
I do like the Machine Empire. I think they're pretty cool.
Yeah, the Machine Empire was pretty good.
They had good costumes too.
Yeah, I like the Cogs. I kind of like the Cogs better than the Putties.
Yes, very much so.
If we're being honest. All right, so let's go to Twitter real quick. I had a poll today at APA something. Who is the best Mighty Morphin Power Ranger? So I was really looking for that first run, but whatever. If you wanted to answer other things, fine. The choices were Tommy, Green Ranger, Kimberly, Pink Ranger, Billy, Blue Ranger, or other. I can't believe Billy got votes, but Billy came in dead last, 12.8%. Kimberly came in, other came in second, 14.9%. Kimberly came in third with 23.4%, and if there was any doubt, the Green Ranger, Tommy, came in first with 48.9% of the votes.
That makes sense.
And just some of the comments here, at Blood Rain Pod, everyone knows at JDFFN, that's Jason David Frank's Twitter handle, was the real one. He's got a gif of the Dragon Dagger getting played. Cheers to Comics, at Cheers to Comics, we got a gif of the Black Ranger.
Jeff.
Okay. Just moving right along. And 10-ish podcast gives us green or get the fuck out. I agree. And at Chris Riley LCP just notes that Tommy was at 69%. Nice.
What? Okay. I see. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
2 Cents and Nonsense podcast at 2 Nonsense gives a vote for Tommy White Ranger. And then last minute vote, Sean and Chris at Dad Rock, Tommy White Ranger, with a gif of Japanese White Ranger. So thank you for participating.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
Yes, polls every week at APA something. Check them out, vote, get a shout out. That's how it works.
Yeah, it's fun. Who doesn't like a shout out?
All right, we got to get through this. We got a lot of teams to get through. We're only in 1997.
Yeah, fuck, dude.
Power Rangers Turbo, 1997. After Divatox's plans are foiled, this is a direct sequel to the Power Rangers Turbo movie. The Power Rangers Turbo movie is actually canon. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie is not. So that's kind of weird. But
it's not canon?
No, because they do the whole ninja journey again when they go get their ninja powers.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. That's fucking dumb.
So after Divatox's plans are foiled, she sets her sights on conquering the Earth with the Turbo Rangers and eventually the intergalactic police officer, the Blue Centurion, combating her monsters. Tommy, Adam, Tanya, and Kat soon retire from being Power Rangers, choosing TJ Johnson, Carlos Valert, Ashley Hammond, and Cassie Chan as their replacements, who are also assisted by the Phantom Ranger. Zordon also leaves, putting Demetria in his place. I was completely checked out by the time I made it to Turbo in this last rewatch. All of the OG characters have been replaced at this point, and I just have no investment in any of these new guys.
Yep, pretty much.
And the plot and villains kind of sucked.
Just the dialogue, too, got even worse.
It really went downhill for a while here.
Yeah,
we'll probably be able to fly through our notes quickly here for a little bit.
They rode the coattails, for sure.
So the theme of this are cars and rescue vehicles. Team members, we start with Tommy Oliver, Red Turbo Ranger with the Turbo Lightning Sword. Adam Park is the Green Turbo Ranger with the Turbo Thunder Cannon. Tawny Sloan, Yellow Ranger with the Turbo Star Chargers. And Kat Hillard is the Pink Ranger with the Turbo Windfire. And then Justin fucking Stewart is the Blue Turbo Ranger.
With the Chili Bowl. Ugh.
Because in the movie, when Rocky injured himself, Justin was chosen by Zordon to be the Blue Ranger. Justin, however, was 12 years old and inexperienced, so to compensate for his youth, he was able to morph into an adult-sized form as the Blue Ranger, and he used the Turbo Hand Blasters. We're not going to talk too much about Justin now. We'll talk about him when we get to Turbo, a Power Rangers movie.
Heard.
But fuck Justin.
Yeah, for real.
They're replaced, as we said. TJ Johnson becomes the Red Ranger, Carlos Valert, the Green Ranger, Ashley Hammond, the Yellow Ranger, Cassie Chan, the Pink Ranger, and they're also assisted by the Blue Centurion, who's an intergalactic police officer from the future, and the Phantom Ranger, who is a mysterious ranger whose powers come from Eltar, which is Zordon's homeworld.
Okay, so the Blue Centurion, I'm just throwing this out there, is like the best part about that season.
Yeah, absolutely. I found when I was going through my other toys, I found my Blue Centurion toy, and he had to come in to be mounted with the rest of the Rangers.
Nice.
So they had the Turbo Zord, or the Turbo Zords, Red Lightning, the Blue Mountain Blaster, Green Desert Thunder, Yellow Dune Star, and the Pink Wind Chaser. And then later they were replaced by the Rescue Zords, which include the Red Lightning Fire Tamer, the Blue Siren Blaster, Green Thunder Loader, the Yellow Star Racer, and Pink Wind Rescue. I don't know why does she keep getting wind? What's up with pink and wind?
I don't know how that helps with cars.
I think she had like a jet. Because in
fair.
the Rescue Zords, like the Fire Tamer, that's a fire truck. The Siren Blaster is a police car. The Thunder Loader is like a bulldozer or like a fucking construction loader. The Star Racer is a race car, and then I think the Wind Rescue was a jet. Yeah. So that's how that works.
Okay.
They had a crossover with the Robot Rangers, which were robotic versions of the Turbo Rangers that were created by Zordon and tested on Earth against Flashhead and Voltmeister. Cool.
Voltmeister.
The villains of Power Rangers Turbo were Divatox, Elgar, Rygog, General Havoc, and then the goons were the Piranatrons and the Chromites. Do we have anything else to say on Turbo, or can we just go to space?
Fuck Turbo.
Let's go to space.
Let's
1998.
go to space.
Power Rangers in space.
Love space. Love it.
You do.
Love it.
Because I was out, because I didn't have any investment in these characters, so I didn't watch space on my last rewatch.
Dude, I remember the theme song to this day.
Let's hear it.
Fuck no.
All right.
I would never know.
After Divatox succeeds in destroying the power chamber, she is called off planet to participate in Dark Spectre's evil alliance in conquering the universe. TJ, Carlos, Ashley, and Cassie travel into outer space to try and stop him and meet up with Andros, who they join to become Space Rangers to stop Dark Spectre and his protege Astronema. Buzz Lightyear out there as well. They eventually awaken Andros' friend Zane, the Silver Ranger, and free Andros' sister Corone, who is Astronema, from Dark Spectre's control, and ultimately use Zordon, captured by Dark Spectre, to defeat Dark Spectre's army. Wow, this is a lot. And free the universe from his control. I don't know what any of those words fucking meant.
Well, I mean, apparently it was like the end of Power Rangers, so they went all fucking out with this one.
Yeah. So, yeah, this was the last series that I originally watched, and where I stopped on my rewatch. After I finished this, I just went through and watched team-up episodes that brought in original 6th-season Rangers. So, yeah.
Yeah.
The theme of this one is space, and the team members are Andros, the Red Ranger. He uses the Spiral Saber. TJ Johnson, the Blue Ranger, Astro Axe. Carlos Valert, the Black Ranger, uses the Lunar Lance. Ashley Hammond, Yellow Ranger, with the Star Slinger. It's a fucking slingshot. Come on.
Lame.
Get better weapons.
Yeah, seriously, that's lame as fuck.
Cassie Chan, the Pink Ranger, has the Satellite Stunner, and then Zane, the Silver Ranger, he has the Super Silverizer, but he also is limited to a 2.5 minute morphing restriction for a while throughout the series.
Yeah, that is a pretty good handicap.
They at times team up with the Alien Rangers. Trey of Triforia comes back, the Blue Centurion comes back, Phantom Ranger comes back. And then they have the Zords, which they're just like spaceships. The Mega Voyagers, Mega V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, and the Mega Winger.
I really liked their Megazord. I thought it was pretty dope.
Yeah, it's a good Megazord, but the Zords leave a lot to be desired. They're just like basic ass spaceships.
Yeah, the whole is way better than the individual pieces.
Yes, I agree there. So, got a big crossover with Power Rangers in space. Early on, too. It's like episode 3. It's called Shell Shocked.
Yes.
They team up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Next Mutation. Which is such a bad... So, I watched this team up, and then I'm like... I realized that the Next Mutation is also on Netflix, and I'm like... I remember watching that. Let me go back and see if this has any merit. It does not. Do not watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation on Netflix. Please don't.
No, I got through.
It's bad.
It's terrible. It's fucking awful.
So anyway, for this crossover, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have been hypnotized by Astronema. They infiltrate the Astro Megaship and capture the Rangers, except for Andros. Andros frees his friends, and after going through a power field, the Turtles return to normal. Astronema gets away, and the Rangers come after her while Alpha works to prevent the Megaship from self-destructing. Let me also just say, Alpha 5 is replaced by Alpha 6 here, and Alpha 6 is the worst.
The worst!
But Alpha 6 is just fucking terrible. They get him like this rapper accent, I guess, or what they think is a rapper accent. It's bad.
It's terrible.
Donatello manages to stop the destruction, and the Turtles join the Rangers in fighting the Quantrons. Later, Michelangelo asks Andros for something. In the end, the Turtles are seen gliding on the Galaxy Gliders through space, which, shout out to them.
Oh, how do they breathe?
Doesn't matter. Not important. I think I asked myself that question when I watched this. I'm like, they're fucking turtles. They can't breathe in space.
Space is water, apparently. Well, they can't breathe in water either.
No, they can't. The villains and henchmen of the season are Dark Spectre, Astronema, and the Quantrons are the like the cannon fodder goons.
Quantrons. I dig.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, I think space is good. I just, like, I didn't care about the characters anymore. So I couldn't, like, really invest my time in it.
There's parts of space that I thought were super duper cool. But, yeah, I mean, I was a kid, so I was foolish.
Yeah, go watch it now. See if you still like it.
I'm good.
Okay, that is the end of part 1 of a podcast about Power Rangers. This is actually an unplanned break. We were only going to try and do it into 2 parts, but we ended up going way longer than we expected. So we're just going to end part 1 here and pick back up on part 2 tomorrow, where we go through the rest of the Power Rangers teams. And then part 3 will be the following day, where we talk about some of our favorite Power Rangers memories, and we talk about the 3 theatrically released Power Rangers films. Thank you for listening. Come back for part 2 and part 3. You can always follow us on Twitter at APA something and at alone_podcast. Thanks always to those cats for providing all the music for a podcast about something. Stay classic.